Hello, Capricorn. So here we are. I think I'm right on time for this. So today is the beginning of Aquarius season, which is quite exciting. But we're going to start in with our intro. Hello, Capricorn. I am Kristen, and I am a healer. And at any point in this video, if you feel connected to me and would like to become a client of mine, you can do so by joining the link in the bio. And I welcome you to my client circle and becoming a permanent member with me. So let's get into this. Aquarius season for Capricorn is quite, let's say, interesting. And the main reason why is because here with Aquarius season, we're going to see a big boost in Capricorn's wealth sector. Now, this isn't just about money per se. Yes, it is big in the financial department. But when we say wealth with Capricorn, we're talking so much about self-wealth. We're talking about the internal. Okay. So on a space inside of not only the heart, but most importantly, your solar plexus area. So your confidence will go through a major increase. Some of you have already felt this a little bit. It kind of was drudging through the end of Capricorn season a bit. And through the end of Capricorn season, there was a lot of revelations in terms of the ways in which maybe you stood in your own way. The Leo Mars transit, which I spoke about a lot, gave you guys a strong sense of self-empowerment. And then as Cancer then transitioned into Mars, it's asking you to go through the lens of things in a more nurturing way, which I've discussed a lot, so I won't overemphasize that right now. But now that we're in this energy, again, it's asking you to not only nurture your relationship with other people, but nurture your relationship with yourself primarily. How can you be better and kinder to yourself? A lot of you guys are getting major, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, you're getting downloads tied to your own identity and the way you affect other people. So if you have anxiety issues, if you have self-esteem issues, self-confidence, excuse me, self-confidence issues, all of these things have been coming up, and instead of just coming up in terms of being in the subconscious mind, they're coming up with random solution. It can be that you are surrounded by people that understand you better than you've been understood previously. It can be that you have a partner that is able to easily match your energy, or again, complement your energy in a way where there isn't so much miscommunication, or you feeling like you're misunderstood, which is something that Capricorn has often gone through. It could be the work environment, whatever the environment is, it is naturally kind of feeding you in a way where you're becoming aware of how you stand in your own way. And this is not a damnation, of course, but it's a way for you to understand how the power is in your own hands in order to get what it is that you want. And that was the beautiful thing about what was taking place during Capricorn season, is the fact that the empowerment of Capricorn this time around was more on the internal spectrum. Now, many of you could have seen a big boost in your social status. You could have seen a big boost in, let's say, your social media presence, the way people see you. There's something about you that you kind of saw a bit of that last year when it came to the Aquarius Pluto, a shining kind of bright light kind of energy. But during your season this time around, as we've just left it, a lot of you could have gotten that boost in that way, where you could have been carrying, again, the shadows of the past, but not as heavy. It's everywhere there is a shadow, there is a solution. Things that used to bog you down, you were able to get to the other side of, and different things like that. And so there could have been a big boost in your self-confidence, self-awareness, energy, the way you presented yourself to the world. It's like the veil has been lifted off of you, and it's like being able to see yourself much more clearly than you have previously. So that was the gift that was given to you guys during your season. Now, hello, everyone. Now that was the gift that was being given to you guys during your season. And with that gift, again, came the natural Capricorn authority, empowerment energy, which is what you can accomplish, what you can do with this energy, being able to see the path forward in terms of your goals and your plans, especially for this year. A lot of you guys could find yourselves having strong projections for this year. Some of you, it can be mostly financial, but for others of you, it's mostly, again, rooted in something about your value systems. Your values have shifted. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you're wanting success just for success's sake. It can be that you're focused on wanting some kind of elevation in the luxury of your life. And that elevation and the luxury of your life for many of you can look different ways, but it changes. Let's say the path forward or the new year resolution that would normally be rooted in I want to make this much amount of money, or I want to have this kind of success in this way. You could find yourself wanting to shift that energy from a deeper space of I want to feel this relaxed in this way, or I want to experience the beauty of my life in this way. And a lot of that could have been coming out during your season. You could have been showing that to the world, really. And feeling more aware of yourself than you have previously. Beauty standards for yourself could have increased, just kind of, even if you were more subtle with yourself, it's just there's something that happened during your season where day by day you were beginning to peel off, let's say, the old shadows of the past and able to say, actually, I really like this about myself, or actually, I shine really bright, or I'm really good at this thing, or I can have this kind of energy that is very progressive, not only to other people, but to myself, and that is the beauty that came along with Capricorn season for you guys this year in specific, because it was leading you up to the completion year here in the 9 year, which is basically you ending old cycles tied to your transformation process, because you've been in such a strong transformation process for so long, and now that is coming to its close. And so the 9 year wants to give you completion. It wants to give you relief, really. And it started in your season of saying the relief is the old, let's say, paradigm that once kept you down or kept you stuck, or misaligned perceptions. You guys could have been dealing again with shadows of the past. But again, those shadows in the past were there to kind of pull you back so you could pull yourself out. So if you were dealing with old memories, it was again trying to, instead of previously where it could have been kind of creating fog, in this case, it was to pull you back so you can pull yourself further out of it, so you can actually break out of it and end the cycle, which was very, very good in terms of your season. The empowerment, like I said, for your solar return was more inside than it was outside, which is nice. And that leads us into Aquarius season, because this is pretty much the kind of, like I projected, where you're going to see the end of the shadow period of Pluto in Capricorn. And so as Aquarius finds us, and it's this second house activation for you in terms of your worth and your wealth. And it's most important to understand that, yes, a lot of this Aquarius energy for you guys is about your money, and specific your finances, but it's more than just that, because it's Venusian energy. So this is why I want you guys to understand, yes, you are now on the brink of your potential of really reaching major amounts of success, especially financial success. But outside of just financial success, it's coming from a space that is much deeper, right? So you're going to be able to attract more wealth to yourself through a deeper sense of self-wealth. Like I talk about all the time, self-worth in that way. So instead of the detached perspective where your one half of your mind is thinking about what it is that you want to achieve for yourself, it's more on the internal level of how can I create, again, more luxury in my day-to-day life, which then will attract those luxuries into you. And this is big because, again, where the second house is, it's the Taurean house, it's the Venusian house, it's the house of the empress, right? So in the tarot, we talk so much about the empress and how the empress is the master of abundance in that way. The empress generates large amounts of abundance while still having a pretty relaxed demeanor. She attracts. And this is obviously not a gendered thing, but where we're talking about the feminine attracts. And so it's pulling all of these things into you in a very relaxed kind of manner. And this is the thing that you guys have to master, or you're being tasked to master during this new generational pull. As we're sitting in Aquarius Pluto, this is what wants to transform for you. It wants to transform your relationship to your own sense of self. You're stepping out of the first house energy with the pioneering energy that is usually associated with something like Aries, having to burst out and fight through and go through that self-transformation. And now it's time for you to experience self-relaxation, but again, through the sense of how you navigate your self-worth and self-wealth. So this is very good. Like I said, it started in your season for you to finalize the shadow period with the Pluto in Capricorn, and Aquarius season is the beginning of the generation for you. So this is great because we're seeing a lot of activation trines coming together with all this Aquarius energy. And for you guys, it's a big increase, mostly again in your finances, but the financial part is coming from the inside part. So self-confidence, number one. And in very simple terms, you're going to be able to rethink the past, right? So things that may have wounded you previously, you're able to kind of see, oh, maybe it's not that you were disliked. Maybe it's that you were threatening, because maybe it was that you were triggering the insecurities of the other, right? You guys could also deal with people coming back from the past, because when we're seeing this increase in your second house energy, you can be giving off a very just kind of luxurious shine to you. You know, I talked so much about the fact that Capricorn was going to be a leader in the new age, but a part of the way in which you are a leader is because, again, we're talking about Venusian. So your beauty, the way that you live life, the way you understand luxury in a way that is more I guess, equipped for the new Aquarian age and the new Aquarian perspective. So again, this kind of shining, bright kind of energy that you have can bring people back from the past that could be dealing with maybe envy or frustration, jealousy, something along those lines. But again, this time being able to handle it better because of all the transformation that you have gone through, stepping out of the Pluto transit, being able to understand your self-worth. So external situations do not need to wound you as much as they would have previously, because you're coming from a stronger space in terms of your sense of self. And this is very beautiful because, like I was mentioning before, Aquarius season wants to heal you. It wants to heal your finances. It wants to heal your sense of your personal identity. It wants to heal a lot of the stuff that you were dealing with during Sagittarius season, which is when the shadow period of Capricorn Pluto was a heavy shadow. Okay. So, you know, Capricorn was waiting for Pluto to exit its sign, but the shadow period hit very intensely. You know, for some of you, it could have been in the external, but mostly it was the mind kind of going through its own rumination and its own kind of experience in that way. So you're stepping out of that, where you're getting this really healing gift being given to you. And again, Aquarius wants to pour the water onto you, and you're going to be experiencing that throughout this season. And like I said, the biggest thing during this season is to really, really focus on your wealth in terms of your finances, but again, your abundance of self, pouring into wholeheartedly yourself as much as you possibly can. And the beautiful thing about your second house activation in Aquarius is the fact that Aquarius is for Capricorn embracing its uniqueness, embracing the things about itself that are different. And you guys always are pretty different. And wherever your social circle is, or from, you know, your wherever you surround yourself with. So it's embracing that energy, pouring so much healing water into that energy, and offering your progression of self. And that is, again, where you're going to be experiencing a lot of growth and a lot of abundance. And then focusing on, again, where you can grow your finances, because it's just going to be healing for you. Where Capricorn heals its money, Capricorn heals itself. So this is very good. I'm going to just pull a little bit in terms of where it is that we need to be when it comes to this energy during Aquarius season. What is it that we need to know here? What is it that we need to be feeling here? How is love looking, and how is career looking, and what is the healing plan? Another thing as well is insecurity can be a big conversation. So you having to address and understand your own insecurities to power through them, to push through them. Embracing your uniqueness. That's the biggest conversation for you, Capricorn. Embracing your uniqueness during Aquarius season. And it's good because, again, you're going to be attracting in a lot of people that help that energy progress forward. Especially if you're dealing with people of the past that are resistant to you in some which way, shape, or form. And again, if you've been dealing with any kind of sluggishness or again, misaligned self-perception, kind of getting too hung up on the past and things like that. A lot of that is going to be healed during this season, which is going to be good. This season is good for you to start the year off for sure. I just want to do a last one when it comes to career. Okay, so when we see the healing point at the bottom, we see this viewpoint in terms of gentility, which is nice. And when it comes to financial progress, what does not resist you will persist, right? So it's allowing, again, your viewpoint of your own self-confidence to be the remedy here. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So in terms of where it is that we need to be for the Aquarius season, we've got the Empress and the Empress at the bottom of the deck. We have the Four of Swords. Now that is beautiful. Now, isn't it? Especially when we're talking about your second house beginning, right? The generation that puts you into your second house, that puts you into your Venus energy, into your Empress energy. That is beautiful. Okay. So, and again, at the bottom of the deck, like I said, we have the Four of Swords. So in terms of backing this energy up for Aquarius season, be in your Empress. And that is across gender expressions, right? It's understanding your worth, understanding how your worth expands your wealth. If it costs you too much, don't do it. And by cost, I mean energy, right? The Empress sits on her throne, as beautiful as she is. Look at her. As beautiful as she has such a classic, gorgeous face, right? And the thing about the Empress is she sits very abundantly and very comfortably on that throne. And when we see the Four of Swords backing up the Empress, it lets you know that relaxation is yours, okay? And it's allowing yourself to be in a more relaxed and healed energy, because again, Aquarius wants to heal you, but Aquarius wants to heal you not with the Six of Swords, where it's telling you, surrender the battle, just take the loss and move on. It's not wanting to heal you in terms of, we don't even see the star here. We see the Four of Swords here, which is letting you know to relax, letting you know to just be in your own energy. The Four of Swords is still a healing energy, but it's the kind of healing energy that says a pulled in, relaxed energy, right? So when we're talking about Venus along with the Four of Swords, it lets us know that this is you being able to, in this season, focus on, kind of like what I was saying earlier in terms of peace, right? Peace being your progress. You being able to pull energies into you. Your abundance expands when you understand, not thinking from the viewpoint of previous Capricorn, which thinks, okay, the struggle and the hustle and the bustle and things like that. It's more like saying, okay, Capricorn will attract all that Capricorn desires from all of the different corners and pull it into itself from a space of Capricorn deserves it. Capricorn deserves to relax. Capricorn deserves to be at peace. Capricorn deserves for things to grow, right? The seeds have already been planted, and Capricorn deserves to experience the abundance of the vegetation growing around it, right? And that is the thing that we see happening during Aquarius season, which is great. So this is the thing to keep in mind. If it costs you too much energy, don't invest into it. And if it puts you in a space of, again, your abundant, relaxed energy, that is where you're going to see your progression. So for those of you who've been experiencing the luxuries and kind of basking in yourself in that way, that is good. Continue to grow yourself in your own relaxed, abundant Empress energy. The Empress is one who generates with very minimal effort, okay? She is the attractor. She is the the attractor. She is the person who gracefully, like, I have my garden outside, for example, right? The process of gracefully planting the seeds, gracefully pouring the water onto the vegetation and allowing it to grow, right? And as it grows, you can grow your food, you can grow your succulents. I have a lot of succulents, for example. I can get into it another time why I choose succulents and my connection to succulents and why. But succulents are plants of resilience. And then they also are full of water as well as being of the earth. So they're great to have around you. But nonetheless, when you go into the process of pouring the water onto your vegetation and it grows, and you're swimming in your own sense of abundance, but you're creating and generating an abundant life for yourself with less strain, with less stress, which less power through, like Capricorn does. Capricorn's redefining its relationship to wealth. And this is where abundance will find you during Aquarius season. It is making it so that you finally have to learn how to stop headbutting things that are resisting you, how to not do it all by yourself as well, especially when we're looking at the Four of Swords, how to attract in people that want to assist and grow you and expand you, how to allow the things to grow around you to just simply pour the water and watch it form around you. Think during this season, if it costs me too much, I will not invest in it. If it adds to my relaxation, if it adds to my sense of worth, if it adds to my expansion of self-wealth, then this is where I need to be. Peace is your primary, let's say, conversation this time around, right? So luxuries, the true luxuries, especially of the Aquarian age, is time. You know, we're not in the old age that we used to be in. The true luxuries of life are having a lot of time, right? Being able to slow things down, being able to choose what you eat, being able to choose where you go, the time that you spend, right? These are the ways in which you're building a wealthier life, not just a richer life, not just a more abundant financial life. We're not just focused on just the currency here, just the pentacle. Remember, Capricorn is pentacles, right? So money is usually actually water because it's currency. Currency is water. Capricorn is the ruler of what we know in the tarot as the pentacles. Pentacles is not necessarily finances. Pentacles, the manifestation of currency, the manifestation of what finances bring, right? So it's Capricorn learning how to really be abundant in its energy by attracting in more, by doing less in that way. So this is really beautiful. When we look at where you need to be in terms of your career, we've got power. You can't get any more straightforward than that, especially when we're talking about Capricorn. You have the power to take control of your life, career, finances. Focus on your needs, okay? You are the person in power here. This is where you're comfortable because you are a Capricorn. You are comfortable in this energy, all right? This is you. You are the person of power because you are the Capricorn. You know, there's nothing more powerful than big Cappy energy, right? So the thing about this energy, again, focus on your needs while you sit comfortably, double confirmation on you, sitting comfortably on your throne. And for my masculines, you really have to understand this. Attract it into you, pull it into you, sit comfortably on your throne. Focus on what you need, okay? The Four of Swords is someone that understands that rest is necessary. Rest is a part of the luxury. You know, when in terms of fitness, for example, your rest is more important oftentimes than your actual pump experience. You know, when you exercise, you're building muscle regardless, but your muscle grows and it expands when you allow yourself to be in rest. If you focus so much on building muscle, all you're going to do is hurt yourself, and you're not going to see the let's say the accumulation of your bodybuilding, right? Rest is important here. Focus on your needs. You are in, and Aquarius season is going to show you all of these can have new solutions in which old locked doors actually have other windows that you're not necessarily seeing. You don't have to do it in this sense of anxiety. It doesn't have to feel like the walls are crashing into you. That karmic cycle, whatever the karmic cycle is that was chasing you guys during your Pluto transit, is coming to a close. And if it has not already, it's closing. Right. So for some of you, it could have been power dynamics. No matter where you were, you attracted some kind of misaligned power dynamic. It could have, based on the client circle, the different karmic cycles have been so intense, down to mess following you, down to filth following you, down to narcissism following you, down to abuse following you guys. There's so many different karmic cycles that take place during our lifetimes, and in terms of the divine and how it repeats things over and over again, especially when you're going through a Pluto transit, that is not your experience anymore. You're going to be able to see that there are windows in locked door rooms, okay? And you are the abundant. This is not the emperor, because keep in mind, the emperor is the person who is usually associated with power, right? The emperor also sits on his throne, but the emperor does a lot of hard work. The emperor is the general, right? He's a man not afraid of a hard day's of work. The empress is somebody much more relaxed. The men are working around her. And again, this is not a gendered thing, because for my masculines, it's important to understand how to love yourself, how to prioritize the self, how to allow yourself to be poured into and loved by the divine, and seeing the things that you invest in abundantly grow and expand, and be able to have more relaxation and more return, right? Think where there is relaxation, there's more return. Okay. So that is the energy that pulls you into it. And it's not laziness, it's not saying don't think at all, because the Empress is a boss as well, right? But she is a feminine boss in that way, where it's her own divinity alone attracts in what it is that she needs. Okay. And this is where you find out your sense of power as you focus on what you need, your relaxation process, your healing process. You know what? I don't want to work this hard in this direction anymore. You know what? This relationship no longer serves me. This person needs to go. I'm not going to tolerate this thing that is too resistant. I don't have to endure something that is like a harsh winter. It's letting that fall off of you. So when we look at what's going on with relationships, like I said, I love that energy because in terms of where it is that you need to be for Aquarius season, it is the ultimate Venusian second house awakening, which is the Empress. Okay. And again, with your career power, so the two back up each other. When we see relationships, we actually see breakup, separation, stopping the pattern. And at the bottom of that deck, we see take a chance, risk, being strategic, not showing your hands of cards. So when we see this energy in terms of breakup, separation, things like that, when it comes to relationships, I think this feels less like a general romantic thing, because I did not pull this for romance. It feels like, again, kind of like I mentioned earlier, you guys may be face to face with a lot of dynamics in terms of who stays in your life and who doesn't. Some of you can see people from the past coming up and you ending that. You know what? This is costing me too much energy. Or the person, like ending cycles, right? Breakup, separation, understanding your strategies, understanding what is a risk and what isn't, not showing your hand, right? So strategically navigating your relationships. If something is costing too much, if it's, most of you are probably going to be in a position where you might be cutting people off, or setting more boundaries, being more cutthroat in terms of what you tolerate, in terms of other people and how you're tolerating it. It may be standoffish during Aquarius season. So even though we see this beautiful, abundant energy in terms of you being powerful in your career, you being the Empress, understanding what your self-worth and what's worth and what isn't, in relationships, we see you actually kind of being this like, you may find yourself potentially, ending connections, abandoning people. Your goal here is to stop the pattern. So if we see the two come together and we're looking at the Empress, the Empress knows who she is. When a woman, again, this is not gendered, right? But let's just say a person, when a person is aware of herself and is aware of her worth, she stops tolerating, she is in the Empress, stops tolerating certain behavior patterns, right? There's just certain things that won't happen. There's certain things that won't be entertained anymore, right? So when we see breakup, separation, stopping the pattern, we see this energy in terms of you being able to power through your relationships by understanding that you do not, especially when we see Hand of Cards here, because Hand of Cards is about understanding your options, right? So it can be that romantically, you can become aware of your options, that you don't have to tolerate just maybe one option. But again, this feels less romantic and this feels more like a general relationship experience. So it feels like a lot of you guys being, kind of maybe off with your head. The king, I think off with your head is what the Queen of Hearts, the Queen of Water with her sensitivity, and the Queen of Swords, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so in this case, allowing, I think a lot of self-confidence, a lot of self-worth, a lot of self-awareness causes this energy of not tolerating this, not tolerating that, cutting people off, maybe close. How do you say? What's the phrase? Like tightening your circle, So that seems like what's taking place in relationships. I also wanted to mention in terms of career, at the bottom of that, we had resources. So it's utilizing what it is that you have. So again, being in power and understanding what it is that you already have. Be grateful for what you have and use something for the future. So again, as you have the power to take control of your life and your finances, right? Because you're sitting in the Empress. And another thing about the Empress is the Empress has a strong sense of self-confidence. So again, things that you thought you could not do previously, things that felt out of your control, which could have happened during Sagittarius season, because like I said, a lot of subconscious heavy things were in the mind during Sagittarius season because you were stepping out of the Capricorn Pluto transit. So whatever you felt like you could not get control of, whatever has been burdening you, especially when it comes to your career and life matters, because career for me, when I say career for you guys, I mean life matters. So it could be legal matters, it could be practical matters, all of these things. You're now stepping into Aquarius season saying, okay, you're going to tackle something that you may have previously been afraid to tackle. For those of you who work for yourselves, you can get a big boost in your business. You're feeling more in control. You're feeling like you can navigate things, but again, less from an emperor place, which is this powering, against all obstacles energy. And it's more from the empress place, which, how can you attract in more with doing less? Like I said, so if you work for yourself, you guys can maybe go through a price increase. You also can go through a client shift. So like maybe your old clientele shifting out and getting a new clientele, being more rested and more comfortable in the office or in your job. And again, feeling more like you deserve a positive outcome, especially if it comes to like legal matters or something along those lines, because you know your worth and you know your wealth, and you don't deserve to kind of struggle or suffer. And I think a lot of that has to do with, again, this Four of Swords energy, which is not having to deserve to be in an uncomfortable position, or again, a Five of Swords, which can be a conflicting kind of situation, which is nice. So at the healing point here, we're at 30 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm trying to make this a little fast for you guys. At the healing point here, we have Yogini, and Yogini stepped out with Lesa at the bottom, but underneath that, we also saw an Aposis. So I'm just going to go through all of these. Yogini is an air energy, which is beautiful because, again, when we're talking about air, we're talking about Aquarius. So we see, again, the ways in which Aquarius is often offering healing for you guys, right? Changes in your life include relationships. Changes in your life, including closed doors or missed opportunities, are not going to derail your fulfillment. Realignments are happening based on divine wisdom and timing. You're being diverted from unnecessary obstacles and suffering. Remember, because we see the Empress with Four Swords. You're being diverted from unnecessary obstacles and suffering. Trust in how your life path is unfolding. Stay true to your authentic healing journey because it is working. Whether you realize it or not, significant inner healing is taking place. So this is very big in terms of kind of what I was feeling when it came to the relationships reading. It doesn't feel so romantic. I'm just going to be completely honest. It feels so much like, again, like you're closing doors, or things are ending, patterns are stopping. So it can be that you guys are the ones ending connections or relationships, or again, they could come in, especially because of the way you guys are feeling about yourself when you're embodying the Empress energy. That can be very triggering to people who knew you in a different energy, and so you can be running into situations maybe people want to close the door on you. You're letting go of old options. Because what is a choice? A choice is actually a decision is one where you're choosing one and not choosing the others, right? So it's understanding what serves and what doesn't serve. So we see closed doors happening during Aquarius season. So this is where the healing point is. It's letting you know that although you are in the space of the Empress and powering through with your career, the biggest thing when it comes to relationships, and this again is not just romantic, it doesn't even feel that way. It feels like it's bigger than that. So whatever sifting through socially that you're going to be taking place, or that's going to be taking place during this time, I don't feel like you guys are going to be super emotional about it. I think at the end of the day, especially when we're looking at the Empress, she will make a hard decision as long as it does not, as long as it serves in her, again, self-worth, self-wealth. The Empress will walk away from something that does not serve her and sit comfortably in knowing so, because her own self-value or self-dignity or self-respect says so, right? And in terms of you needing to take power of your life and being in control when it comes to your career, again, You might have to make decisions where you realize making one choice will stop you from having other opportunities or other choices, right? But again, this is working in your favor. Yeah. So understanding closed doors are not going to derail your fulfillment. And whatever it is that is taking place, you're being diverted from unnecessary obstacles. Stay in your self-worth energy, stay in your sense of abundance energy. And this will allow you to swim through Aquarius season. Underneath that, we had Alyssa, like I said. And so this is backing up the energy in terms of understanding. Hold on 1 second. More air, right? So the two together are air energies. Kind of classic, I would say, Aquarian energies in that way. The feminine, oftentimes when you see the star energy, these both feel very star energy like. There's a gentler way to proceed and obtain the same and or greater effect. And this is very big because remember, like we said, the Empress with the Four of Swords, right? There's a gentler way to proceed to and obtain the same or even greater effect. Tame the wild and frenzied workings of the mind by grounding yourself with beauty, pleasure, and grace. Those three things are the definition of the Empress. Beauty, pleasure, and grace. Violence and its negative effects shall be overcome and healed through feminine gentleness and inner spiritual strength. This oracle is a sign of good future. So yeah, that's pretty much straightforward. When we're talking about feminine gentleness and beauty, that is the Empress. We're talking about feminine grace, that is the Empress. We see here two air energies, both of them kind of embodying the star kind of energy. So again, we see this healing that Aquarius is trying to bring to you. Where you are worried when a door closes or a person leaves, when you stop the pattern, allow yourself to take a deep breath and understand it was costing you too much energy. The Empress is not going to and does not deserve to deal with anything that ruptures her sense of self, right? And so you do not either. You deserve to be abundant in how you see yourself, preserve yourself, navigate yourself, treat and love yourself. And that is what Aquarius season beginning you into this new generation is going to be putting you through in terms of this situation. So big control when it comes to the career. This is great. I love seeing this in terms of taking big power when it comes to your career. But again, it's coming from a space of self-deserving. So not necessarily that classic kind of old school Capricorn way, but the new school Capricorn way, which is you just deserve better. Maybe saying to yourself, I deserve better, or my clients deserve better, or you do things differently when you know who it is that you are. I apologize for the church bells. But yeah, so that is kind of the case there. I love this energy. I will pull for the shadow. We're gonna wrap up with the shadow just so we can see what is wounding you or what sits in the belly in that way. Off the bat, it's so funny because during this entire reading, I keep getting this like solar plex hit. Self-wealth. Because it feels like a lot of healing tied to that. Mainly because when it comes to Capricorn and in the client circle, I've done a lot of work with you guys, and a lot of you guys have had a lot of issues with like the sacral, the root, and the solar plex. And a lot of that is because it's Capricorn transformation. Pluto transformation hits those three areas for all the signs that are experiencing it. Because when you're talking about transformation, when we think about the first house, we think about Aries, right? Aries is fire, lower chakras. And again, it's identity, the I am, right? The I am exists in the ego. It exists right here, right? So in terms of the healing process, it's Capricorn getting a restoration in who it is that you are, getting a restoration in your own sense of, again, your identity, your self-worth, your value, your character in that way. Okay. Your cutlass came out. That's a strong pull. Oh, wow. Okay. So in your shadow, we see Bondage with Omo Cutlass. Wow. Okay. Bondage is the devil. Bondage is you. And Omo Cutlass is the Page of Swords. Okay. So the shadow that, in this case, the shadow that you are dealing with is the old you. The old you. The old you. The old you. Because the devil can show up in many different ways. Can be battling addictions, can be battling restrictions and all of these things. But the old you, in this case, with Omo Cutlass, with the page of swords, the old you, and how the old you controls your mind, anxiety, sense of self. This is interesting. And more than anything, the old you, again, especially when it comes to the shadow deck, when we're talking about bondage, the old you and the way in which the old you gets in your own way. The old you, for many of you, is the opposite of the empress. The old you is a person that doesn't understand your own power. Even though this is Capricorn, right? To be in a sense of power, the old you is sitting here feeling bounded, chained, restricted, especially when we're talking about relationships here. Like, you have to deal with people. You have to deal with these things. You have to deal with these restrictions. You can only gain through this old way. You can only do it through the devil's way. Now, don't get me wrong. You guys know I don't have it, but I just have to, I have to be in the reading. In this case, the devil is not good. The devil is your old pains, your old restrictions. Again, your way in which you stop you. The ways in which you also bind and chain yourself to things that do not serve you. And especially for some of you, this is a lot with people, because we're talking about closed doors, right? So the old ties that bind. And with the devil, this is intense, like your shadow during Aquarius season is the exact opposite of the biggest healing here. Because when we're talking about the Empress, that is a beautiful, beautiful energy to be in. That is Venus. Your healing points both came in Aquarian energies, in terms of air, feminine energies, telling you that you can do things in a much more feminine, gentle way, telling you that closed doors are not going to derail your fulfillment, and you're going to be able to blossom and manifest in a much different way. You're going through a great healing here. This is beautiful, and you can't get any better when it comes to power in terms of your career. This is you taking full control. You can get better. You can be in success, right? You can be in different places, but this is you taking full power. This is you taking control because you know your value, you know your worth now, right? When you're stepping into this kind of power, this is the exact opposite of the negative devil. The negative devil feels powerless. It is a person that may look intense, or they may look a certain way, but they're powerless. They're powerless to their restrictions. They're powerless to their addictions. They're powerless in terms of other people. That's where the sadomasochist kind of Capricorn can come about, right? Where it feels like it deserves punishment. It deserves abuse in that way. It deserves to not be able to take control of things. Like something is always bigger than you. That looming energy of Saturn, right? Like which was amplified during your Pluto transit. So this is no surprise. The thing that is in your shadow is the very thing that was keeping you stuck. Because where was Pluto? It was in the devil, right? And especially for you, it was in Capricorn. And it's almost like being on the other side of this energy, right? Almost on the other side of Saturn. And this, of course, is not my damnation to the devil, but I just have to be honest in terms of the reading and in terms of this case. It's like you're fighting during Aquarius season. In your shadow is all the old blockages, chains of you. So this is not going to be easy. I wish I could say that this was going to be easy, but it's not. And then it's backed up with Omo Cutlass, which lets me know most of it is in your mind. Okay, so that's a positive. Doesn't necessarily feel like actual, especially when we're looking at the Empress. There's a lot of actual abundance around you. There is a lot of actual. You are able to take control. You're able to actually have real power. Right? You're able to be in a more relaxed state. So that lets me know that you're not necessarily fighting chains that are literally on your wrists and your ankles, but it's in the chains of the mind. Okay? the ways in which you guys may be dealing with a lot of anxiety during Aquarius season. As you go to look for maybe peace here, you're remembering a time when you didn't have it. When you're going to end this relationship that has really kept you chained and bound and all of these things, it can be bringing up the ways in which that has been in your head as you end old patterns, right? We break up separation and then ending the pattern of pain, the pattern of restriction, the pattern of addiction, right? The pattern of the old Pluto, the ways in which Pluto amplified those shadows, amplified those dark things. You're being required to be the Empress. The Empress is the exact opposite. She's light, she's abundant, okay? She knows her worth, she knows her value. The water is clean. Even in terms of pleasure, because the devil can be, on a negative sense, can be the person that's bound by their pleasures. When we're talking about sexuality, the Empress is free sexuality. You know, in the tarot, we see her as the Empress. In many different, depending on the spiritual practice, she has taken on many different personalities. In, let's say, Rome or Greece, she was Venus, she was Aphrodite. If you're looking at Orishas, for example, she is Oshun, you know? All of these different characters that she has taken on, depending on where you are in terms of how you perceive your spiritual journey. The Empress is the feminine abundant, right? She is the Venus in that way. And sexuality roams free. It is very fluid. And the Empress is also the high vibrational sex worker, right? And high vibrational, most importantly, right? Whereas the devil is the low vibrational energy, feeling sexually restricted, feeling wounded by pleasure. The devil takes pleasure and it amplifies it to a point of poison, where the Empress experiences pleasure with full abundance and full enjoyment, and it's just free, you know, it's free love. It's there's nothing low vibrational about it. Both can make love, right? But one is bound, chained, and restricted, and losing its energy like a succubus energy, while the other one is abundant and free, and it pours into you through its lovemaking in that way. So again, it's like the two sides of stepping out of one bounded energy into an abundant energy. And especially when we're talking about finances for you guys as well, it's like looking at your finances differently, looking at your career differently, coming from a more lighthearted place instead of a more chained place, right? Instead of a more darker and heavier place. You're letting go of the chains. The chains are falling off. You're stepping out of the Capricorn Pluto shadow period, stepping out of the devil period, the negative, the dark side of the devil period. The bondage is being released. The chains are being released. And like I said, the beauty of this is most of it is in the mind. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's in the mind. Okay. So as you step into it, if an old person comes from the past, it's only in your head, right? The battle in that case, you're reworking your own mind. Instead of an Omo Cutlass, Page of Swords can also be a person of anxiety, overthinking, right? The Four of Swords doesn't overthink. This is where you need to be. The shadow is the overthinking, is the anxiety, is the fighting, is the dark side of pleasure. Where you are going to be is the light side of pleasure and allowing relaxation to move through you, in and around you. Understanding closed doors do not derail your fulfillment. You're going through a great healing here. Do not try to overly control it. Just allow it, okay? And feminine gentleness is taking place. It's pouring into all of the different energies. Stop allowing yourself to be strained by people and things around you. Okay, so that's what I have for you, Capricorn. This is going to be an interesting season, I will say. Yeah, so if you resonated with me at any point during this reading, the personal sessions in the client circle pretty much go exactly like this. So yeah, the client circle is pretty big and we're continuing to grow and expand. Yeah, so I welcome you into my client circle and to becoming a person that works with me and is connected to my heart. And yeah, you can find that link in the bio. Okay, so I love you. Hello to everybody. Thank you. I wasn't even paying attention. So yeah, so I love you, Capricorn. Sometimes I was going to say healing circle, but the healing circle is the private membership, but I love you, Capricorn. Ciao.